The recruitment industry is a lucrative industry where you can make a lot of money and you don't need a lot of investment. Though the question does get asked, is it a saturated market? Well, that's something we're going to cover. Now, what is a saturated market? That's something we need to determine. I would say a saturated market would be a market where it would be difficult for someone new to come in and not be able to make money. I think that's something that, in essence, you and I are looking to cover. Can you enter the market as someone fresh, and can you make a decent amount of money in recruitment? And I guess if you can, then I assume you and I both would feel like it's not a saturated market, as we're all trying to make money in whatever business or venture that we're going to start. Now, you see, a recruitment company makes money by employing someone, having a candidate, and getting that candidate to get a job with a company. That, in essence, is how a recruitment company makes money. We would charge a percentage of that person's annual salary, or it would be an hourly rate, and the person, for example, is getting paid £20 per hour, and we as a recruitment company would charge £5 on top of that, so that being £25 per hour. So to give you guys an idea, and bearing in mind I've been in the recruitment industry for 12 years, I'm now 32 years old. I had to think about that one. And I got into the recruitment industry when I was about 20 years old. I worked a job and I started my own company when I was 25 years old. And thankfully, we today still run our company and we make a decent amount of money. And so in the UK, every 3 months, and so every single 3 months, there are roughly 1 million live jobs, 1 million new jobs are made available in the UK alone. Every 3 months. And that is a rough estimate. Sometimes it can be 800, 900, sometimes 1.2 million, 1.3 million. It does go up and down. And I would say actually to get into the recruitment industry, the best time is when the markets are down. And I will explain that later on in the video as well. Now, 1 million jobs might just sound like a number. But one job, how much does one job make you guys if you successfully find a candidate for a company? Well, let's go through it. On £40,000 a year, if you were to find someone for a company and charged 15%, then you would make £6,000 net profit, as in that would be the profit to you, unless you're going to pay someone salaries or you have other costs involved. That to you is pure profit, £6,000 if that person successfully gets a job. So a company is looking for someone, you find someone, you then put that person in, they have an interview, they have a second interview and they got the job, you now make £6,000. That's exactly how recruitment works. That is 50% of it, and I will explain another 50% how the other side works as well. But to give you guys an idea, now, success to you is different compared to success for myself or success to someone else. What do I mean by that? If you're currently earning £30,000 a year as a salary, and you want to start a recruitment company for yourself, success to you might be £25,000 extra a year. That is success to you. And success to someone else is, well, I'm going to leave my job and I want to make £30,000 a year, the same that I was making whilst working my job. For me, by the way, when I started my own recruitment company, I was making about £75,000 a year. And to me, if I was making close to £55,000 a year, I would have been super happy. And actually, that is what my target was, as long as I just didn't have to work a job and go into work and report into a manager. That is all I wanted. I just wanted enough. Well, I did 55, one, because it's more tax efficient, and secondly, I wasn't having to commute to work, and technically I would save. And in my head, it was like, well, I would rather save on the small luxuries than report into someone, and I would rather be free and not feel like I am restricted and just cut down on things that aren't a necessity to me. Right? That's how my brain was thinking when I started my recruitment company. And it just so happened to be when I started, it turned out that a client was interested, another, and I made way more money than I ever thought. In fact, 6 months in, I was making £20,000 a month, and I continue to make that every single month. And I've showed proof many a times, by the way. Now, why do I mention that? Because look, if success to you is £30,000 a year and success to someone else is £100,000 a year, then the one who has made £30,000 a year will be like, I have had success in starting my own recruitment company. And someone else who is like, no, I don't want to work my job ever again, and I only want to run my recruitment company, and I need to make 6 figures. And if I don't make 6 figures, then I've failed. Right? They might make 40 or £50,000, and they might speak to their friend and be like, yeah, I failed. They speak to their friend and they're like, but you made £50,000 a year. That's amazing. The point is this: success to you is different to someone else. And if you today start one person getting the job, you should at least be looking at £4,000 or £5,000. 4 to 5,000 pounds. Now, the other side is contracting recruitment. How does contracting recruitment work? In fact, it's a market that I did quite heavily, and there aren't many people that speak about this, if any, to be fair, because contracting recruitment is quite difficult. A recruiter can get a job and get it filled and make 4 or 5,000 pounds fairly easily. By the way, it's not actually that difficult. But the hard part is the contracting side. The contracting side is because a company will not work with you unless they really trust you. And so you have to build trust, you have to build relationships, over a time you build that contract, and then you start placing people. And the way that works is, if I am paying my candidate £15 per hour, I charge the company £20 an hour, my profit margin is £5 per hour, and I'm keeping the numbers very simple, though there are other costs involved. It just would be super long for me to go over everything that is involved and exactly how the numbers work. So I'm going to keep it simple and just say £15 is what I'm going to pay the candidate, £20 is what I'm going to take from the company. In essence, the way it works is I pay the candidate £15 per hour, and then I invoice the company £20 per hour for how many hours they've worked, and they pay me. So for example, this candidate works 40 hours a week, and therefore one candidate will make you a profit. I'm not going to say net profit because there are other costs involved, but profit of, let's say, £200 a week, which means £800 a month. But the good thing here is many times a company can turn around and just say, I want 5 people. Or I want 10 people. I need 10 people to start in 2 weeks. So imagine that. You've got 10 people, you need to find 10 people, and you might not find all 10, but you might find 5, which means you will make £4,000 completely passively. And this is interesting, right? Because it's probably what a lot of the gurus talk about. Someone else does the work and you get paid for someone else working, because this person gets paid £15 per hour and you as a recruitment company owner charge £20. And so you're making £5 for them working. That's actually how contracting recruitment works. And in the UK, in the US, and by the way, this market is massive. A lot of countries, recruitment is very, very normal. In fact, most of Europe and even South Asia. I've actually spoken to some companies in Pakistan that would happily pay upwards of, 4,000 or 5,000 pounds for certain employees. And so even in Pakistan, where the cost is so low and people don't pay that high wages, you can even do recruitment there. Now, in the mix of all of this, I've explained how it works and how you make money, but is it saturated? Well, let me put it like this. If you have a good candidate and you go knocking on the door of a company and you say, I've got this candidate, he's looking for work, are you interested? You'll be very surprised at how many companies are happy to have a conversation with you, and yes, they need people. In fact, I've proved this many times. I've picked up the phone, I've done cold calling, I've done sales. Companies have, been super interested in working with me and said, yes, we need people, right? And I'll be honest, there are a lot of people that talk waffle on social media, but they are unable to prove it. That is just the reality. I'm going to be a little bit arrogant here. I'm actually going to be a little bit arrogant, and I think it's completely fine to be a little bit arrogant when it comes to the dunya in certain perspectives. And when I say arrogant, I don't mean, in a terrible way. Anyway, the point I guess I'm making is this. I talk about recruitment, and I've proved it many times by picking up the phone, doing sales calls, getting clients on board, making placements, and proving that. I've shown my bank statements and many times. People do not do that on social media. You want to know who's telling the truth? You want to know if someone can do it and can't do it? Well, ask them. Why don't you just prove it? Without you waffling, without you saying this works and that doesn't work and this doesn't work, fine, get on the phone and prove it. Or do what you say and prove it. Show us. Bring a client on board, make a placement and show us, right? I have done hours and hours of cold calling. I speak on the phone. I win clients. I have done it for the last 3-4 years. I show you, sorry, when I say last 3-4 years, I mean on social media, not historically. Just in case someone thinks that, oh, he's only done recruitment for 3 years. No, I mean for social media, I've proved it many times. And so I don't think for a second can doubt I don't know recruitment. I know it very well. I've done it from the bottom. I've done it from the start. And I have thankfully grown the recruitment company to today. We continue to work with some of the biggest companies in the world. And so is recruitment saturated? Not even close. I would say not even close, for the simple reason that when you are making £5,000 for one person getting a job successfully, when the fees are so high for the service that you're giving, when you have hardly any competition, because guess what? People don't want to pick up the phone. They're scared. People are scared to pick up the phone. That is the reality. If someone says to you, cold calling is dead, sales calls is dead, you do emails, you send emails, you do LinkedIn stuff, you do all of that stuff. If anyone says to you that sales calls is dead, they're scared. They're worried. They can't pick up the phone. That's the reality. And I challenge this as an open challenge to anyone who says that sales calls is dead. And again, if I say sales calling works, if I say cold calling works, I get on the phone and I prove it, right? I don't just say it, I prove it. And I have many a times. In fact, I will again. And in fact, there's a new video coming out in December where I will, for a whole week, set up a recruitment company from scratch. Yeah, exactly. Not many people could do that. And I can. I'm putting myself out there in front of you guys right now. Just comment below. All I need from you guys is a support. So subscribe to the channel because trust me, the things I do, not many people can do. And recruitment is not saturated, not even close, because people cannot do recruitment correctly. They can't do it properly. They can't build rapport. They can't build relationships. They can't. And that is what it comes down to. Because in essence, what is setting you apart when it comes to a company and a candidate? There are thousands of companies out there, but let me tell you like this. You do recruitment the way I tell you to, and recruitment is not saturated. Let me explain. There are hundreds of people that will send emails. There are hundreds of people that will try to do business development on LinkedIn. There are hundreds of people that will use some software and think that, yes, this is how I am going to be a great salesperson. You are a joke, man. Respectfully. Because guess what? When I pick up the phone and when I go for a client meeting and when I speak to this company, guess what they say? We love Abu Musa. He's our guy. He can get the job done. You buy from the people you trust and you do business with people that you trust, the people that you like. So guess what? They don't like you if you're sending emails. They don't like you if you're doing business development on LinkedIn. And so if you want to deal with that saturated market, if you want to deal with, yeah, it is saturated. It's saturated when you're not doing it properly. Because when I go for a client meeting, make calls, speak to people, speak to the Mark, John, Harry, and Karen. And guess what? They remember me because I know how to do it. And this is the point. If you do it well, recruitment is not saturated. If you do it properly, it is not saturated. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Any questions, let me know. We do teach how to start your own recruitment company. This hopefully was of benefit. If you're interested in starting your own recruitment company, we will leave the link in the description below. You can leave your details and someone will be in touch. But hopefully this video was of benefit and I'll continue to make more recruitment content for you guys.